My name is Giovanni. I was born in a peasant family in Seminara, Calabria. In 1952, I migrated to Australia. I was one of the first assistant migrants. I had no intention of migrating to Australia or anyone else. But one afternoon in February, while I was at work at an olive oil factories, I heard a whistle. I recognized it as a family whistle. It was my brother calling me to go home because I had to leave at 5 o'clock that afternoon to migrate to Australia. At home, my mother and sister were crying and had already packed a small suitcase with my few possessions. My father had made the application without telling me. I protested and went off to the piazza. My cousin and a few others followed me to convince me to go, as I only had 2 hours to catch the train to Naples. In the end, they convinced me, but just to make sure I didn't change my mind, one of them came with me. I spent 2 weeks at Bagnoli in an immigration camp at Naples because the ship broke down. It then took 44 days to sail to Melbourne. From Melbourne, we went by train to Bonachilla military camp, where I spent 3 horrible months and took part in the Bonachilla revolt. I finally got to work as a painter in Cobram, painting the church and convent. By 1954, I was in Melbourne, where I became very active with my union. I then became involved in the Labour Party because I realized that migrants were discriminated against and they were just numbers. Because I was involved in politics, the Conservative government of the day refused me the citizenship and re-entry visa, so I could not go to Italy to visit my sick mother. That was very hard for me and my parents, but I was convinced that what I was doing was right. It wasn't until 1973, after the election of the Whitlam Labour government, that I was granted Australian citizenship at a big ceremony at the Coburg Town Hall. In the early 70s, I was one of the founders of FILEF, the Italian Federation of Migrant Workers and their Family in Australia, and the first president of Ethnic Community Council of Victoria. I was one of only 2 people to have been imprisoned in a dungeon at Parliament House with the then principal of Brunswick Girls High School. I had to disrupt the opening of State Parliament to demand a new school. 2 years later, in 1979, I was elected to Parliament, to the Upper House, to bring home the reality that Australia is a multicultural society. I made part of my maiden speech in Italian. That was the first time it had been done in an English-speaking parliament. Later I was elected to deputy president and chairman of a committee. It was not only an honor for me, who had arrived here with no English and very little school, but for the migrant community in this country. My parliamentary office was the busiest office because many ordinary people of all backgrounds recognized me as one of them. I hadn't wanted to come to Australia. My father forged my signature because he thought I could have a better life. It's only recently that I have understood that. All my life in Australia, I have worked to create a better society. I have been happy here. I have enjoyed my life. I have a wife and 3 daughters and grandchildren. But I cannot forget where I was born. In the daytime I work in Australia, but at night I am in Seminara, Calabria.